OG Sports back is back with you, and the best kept secret in college baseball is going on in Daytona Beach, Florida, where the SWACs, that's right, HBCUs baseball program, once again doing it big. Two big SEC wins, and the architect of that success to this point is Coach Johnny Hernandez from Bethune-Cookman. And in the interest of full disclosure, Lynn Thompson, one of my favorite people, Alan Suber is the greatest pound for pound player in the history of the MEAC, according to me. But when we talk baseball now, Coach, how have you been able to, put together a program that can compete with these elite blue blood schools?
Yeah, well, first of all, Mark, I appreciate, you having me on and speaking about our program here in Daytona Beach. And as you alluded to, this wouldn't be possible without actually the belief in Lynn Thompson. Lynn Thompson was responsible for me being hired here at Bethune-Cookman, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that he gave me along with his supporting staff back in the fall of 2018 to be able to lead such a prestigious baseball program, not only in HBCU baseball, but a national brand as well, as far as Bethune-Cookman baseball. So it's been a lot of hard work. It's been about the student athletes that we've been able to recruit. We've been able to develop them on and off the field for them buying into the vision that I had when I first landed here at Bethune-Cookman. So there's a lot of people to thank. Obviously, Lynn Thompson, the first one, because he did provide me an opportunity to begin my Division I head coaching career, and all the student athletes that have been a part of our program, and all the coaches that I've had the honor of working alongside to be able to put this program back where it needed to be.
So as you building your foundation of your program on day one, what were the first building blocks that you put in place so that you could start springing forward?
Yeah, I think coming from the junior college side, I coached junior college for 5 years prior to me arriving here at Bethune-Cookman, and we knew that the experience of the junior college baseball player was going to be fruitful in what we wanted to attain here at Bethune-Cookman. Walked into a situation where the seniors at that point, they had three head coaches in 4 years. So that first year was me getting acclimated to the program, acclimated to, at the time, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, that we were a member of the MEAC, and we just got to work. Our first recruiting class, we did bring in a good balance of high school guys and junior college guys. I mean, that high school recruiting class, our first one, was ranked 57th in the country that touched down here at Bethune-Cookman. Now, as we all know, the pandemic disrupted everything. And then in 2021, unfortunately, our university opted out of athletics. So it gave us an opportunity to reset the program, so to speak. And at that point, we were the only program in the country that was able to provide opportunities with the roster and also with scholarship money as well, because of the fact that our roster ended up being dismantled due to the opt-out of 2021. So, as we know, the landscape of college athletics, we felt it was in the best interest of our program to be an older group, to stabilize the program in 2022 as we entered into the Southwestern Athletic Conference for the first year. And it's been going well so far. So, again, it's about people at the end of the day, bringing high character individuals that we know that, have one or two tools that we're going to be able to develop and continue to help them through their process as growth of being teenagers to now young men, and the talent as well. So, it's been good the last couple of years. And again, I'm very fortunate to have this opportunity.
So in a hot place like, South Florida, where baseball is big, um, do you have like brand recognition now? When you walk into a kid or you make an inquiry, do the light bulbs go off? How's that reputation thing building with your brand right now?
Yeah, well, me being from South Florida definitely helps the relationships and the contacts that we have down there in South Florida. I coached high school in South Florida. I coached junior college and travel baseball in South Florida. So I know the name holds weight as far as Bethune-Cookman University, and we have a ton of alumni that come out of the South Florida area, as we do across the country. I think that now the recruits are starting to see the fruits of the labor of the entire coaching staff and the support of the administration, where we're calling up kids and now we're getting phone calls back, right? We're not getting denied an opportunity to at least speak to the recruits as far as, hey, this is what we can do for you. This is what our program is all about. And we go from there. So I think now, especially with the vigorous schedule that we do play throughout the course of our 56 game regular season schedule, players are starting to look at, well, wait a second, these guys are the real deal, right?
Mm.
And, we've built up the program and our foundation has been great. And, at the end of the day, it's about giving kids an opportunity to continue not only their athletic careers, but their academic careers as well. And as we know, they enter to learn and depart to serve.
Johnny Hernandez is our guest. He's head coach of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats baseball program, coming off of two big SEC victories over LSU and Florida. My question with you, with success like that, also comes difficulty in getting teams to want to play you. How do you navigate around that? Because in many respects, it's almost like with basketball right now in mid-majors versus the power schools. You're rising into that mid-major category with the victories. But is it difficult to schedule?
It's not really difficult. At least I would like to think that way. We have built solid relationships with all of the head coaches and the coaches around the state. And we're in a centralized location where we're fortunate enough to drive to some of these bigger schools. And we have home and home series with some of the other mid majors around the state of Florida. We're all looking for games. It makes sense for us to continue that relationship regardless of where we are at in our program and regardless where everyone else is at. I think the unique part of this is the Southwestern Athletic Conference schedule, because if we're able to be in, for instance, Baton Rouge for a weekend series at Southern, then the weekend after we drive 3.5 hours up the road to Mississippi Valley, then it makes sense for us to just stay, economically speaking, for us and being able to pick up some games as we did with LSU. And next year is no different. We'll be 2 weeks in Houston as we have back-to-back series at Texas Southern and at Prairie View. So we're looking to find a midweek game to play against anybody, whether it's Texas, Texas A&M, or whether it's Rice, Houston, just to give us an opportunity to be able to play these games is something great for our program. It's a big recruiting tool for us as well. And we're just looking for opportunities to play. But I like to think that it shouldn't disrupt anything of the relationships that have been built, not only by myself, but the previous head coach, Coach Beverlin, and the previous coach before that, Coach Melendez. So again, we're just fortunate to be in a really good situation and play competitive baseball, year in and year out.
Coach, let's talk about your recruiting base. I mean, it's fertile down there, right? You got a lot of players. I'm just wondering about the demographic, because they're saying that they're not black kids playing baseball, but you and I know better than that. So how come we don't see more at the Division I level? Is it too expensive, which seems to be the I guess excuse, for lack of a better term?
I think there's an argument to be made that travel baseball has made it expensive and has pushed, the black community and even other communities as well that financially, economically speaking, cannot hold that. I've seen it firsthand where, you go to Dick's Sporting Goods and you want a pair of cleats, that's $125. You want a baseball glove, that's $200. You want to buy a bat, that's $400, $500, $600. That's not even stepping foot at a field to practice. That's just getting the necessities needed in order to play baseball. And the other thing too is there's a lot of city parks that have been shut down. I come up, when I was coming up, the parks were open from 9 a.m. till almost 8, 9 o'clock at night. And now it seems we're even here in our town where I drive by, there's no baseball fields open and there's no accessibility to baseball. I think the other thing too is, as far as the demographic of our roster, our job is to put players out there that are going to give us an opportunity to win day in and day out. Do the players have the talent to compete, not only in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, but also against the big time schools that we do play, right? So if you look at it as a whole, we're trying to get the best available player by the position in which the roster allows us to recruit that position. If we have, for instance, 3 catchers and there's 2 sophomores and a junior, chances are we're not going to be recruiting that position for the next maybe year or 2 years. If we have 5 outfielders and the same thing, it's 1 senior, 2 juniors, and maybe 2 freshmen or sophomores, chances are we're not recruiting that position. And also economically speaking as well, What does the scholarship situation look like? So there's a lot of factors that go into it. We're about getting the best available player that's going to represent our institution, not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Coach Johnny Hernandez of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcat baseball program. Coach, I want to keep you right here. We're going to come back on the other side and continue our conversation with the best kept story in college baseball. It's OG Sports Wrap on the network. I'm Professor G. Remember, download that mobile app because we all we got. Stay with me, Coach, in 3, 2, 1. It is Professor G back with you as we continue Sports Wrap Radio's OG Sports Wrap, along with Coach Johnny Hernandez from Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. 2 big SEC wins last week over LSU and Florida. And Coach, you just look at what's happening around the SWAC right now and the visibility of the conference. It's amazing. I know even with the Celebration Bowl loss, it was just such a great game. It's so big. Can you talk about the shine that is on your conference right now? And again, I know Charles McClellan. I remember how he had his vision for when he became the commissioner. It looks like his mission, certainly with the SWAC TV thing, is huge for branding and exposure. But can you talk about how that aspect kind of trickles down to help, you establish the foundation of your program in that league?
Yeah, I think that since we came in 2022 or the 2021-2022 academic year, I've seen firsthand the Southwestern Athletic Conference grow as a whole, not only in football, but in basketball with some of the teams that are making some noise in March Madness once the basketball tournament begins. Had a couple of teams that won their play-in game and also had some success in the March Madness rounds after the play-in game. And I think that that's huge because it continues to provide visibility to all of the SWAC schools and HBCUs as a whole. I think on the baseball side of it, this isn't the first time that an HBCU baseball program takes down an SEC opponent. Alabama State took Auburn, I think it was last year, and then Southern has definitely had their success against LSU. We've had success against the 2 SEC teams, as you've alluded to this year with Florida and LSU, and we took a game from Miami last year, the year before last. So I think as a whole, there's definitely a bright that's shining, or the light is shining pretty bright across the entire landscape of the conference. And as you mentioned, Dr. McClellan has done a phenomenal job, and the support staff that he has in the SWAC office to be able to shine, that light with all of the different programs and all of the HBCUs across. And I think that the one thing that shouldn't get lost is the growth on the academic side of each institution within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So again, I'm so fortunate to be in a position in which I'm able to lead great young men in a prestigious university, but also have a working relationship with the SWAC office and the 12 head coaches, 12 head baseball coaches, where our goal is also to uplift the conference on a baseball side of things. And again, with everything going on, SWAC TV is providing visibility as well to maybe the unknown fan, or the fan that, just let me see what's going on with this SWAC TV. And the more visibility that we're able to attract, then I think the better it is for everyone that's involved in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Let me ask you about the Major League Baseball impact, certainly around the All-Star game with the HBCU Classic and things like that. What has that done, in your opinion, as a coach, for the brand of HBCU baseball? And do you think that we're just in an infancy of that, or are we peaking right now?
I think that there's obviously opportunities to get better. But I do think that is a great opportunity to bring in the top HBCU baseball talent voted on by, the committee of the Swingman Classic, to be able to put them in an opportunity to play at a Major League Baseball stadium during All-Star game weekend on MLB Network, and just highlight the really good baseball that we have all across our conference. I've said this, if people would really give HBCU baseball an opportunity, they would see that we have high talent across the board in our entire conference. Just last year in our conference, we had 4 players that were involved in the Swingman Classic by Ken Griffey Jr., drafted by major league organizations. And we've had players get drafted out of HBCUs. So the opportunities are there. And I think that the Swingman Classic is just another, feather in the cap to highlight the great product and the great talent that we do have here in the Southwestern Athletic Conference in regards to baseball.
So for the record now, I guess, is it a thing for players now? Oftentimes I know with football and basketball, they're looking for a postseason opportunity, if you will, and they come in and it's a source of motivation. Do kids really have that twinkle in their eye, if you will, when they start seeing the possibility that they could be a part of that event now?
Yeah, I want to believe so because again, it's backed by Ken Griffey Jr. Even me growing up, I mean, I looked up to Ken Griffey Jr. Right, taking BP with the hat backwards and with the swag that Junior had. So I think also with the players that have gone to the Swingman Classic to have been a part of that program and also come back to their institutions and speak about their experience throughout the course of the 2 or 3 days that goes on with the Swingman Classic. I think it's great, and I do think that players should be motivated to be able to participate in an opportunity like that in the Swingman Classic. And you're there during All-Star Weekend. There's festivities, there's summits, and there's conferences that go on where it's not just about baseball. It's about what the Swingman Classic can do for the individual to allow them to continue their growth as they head into young men heading into society once their playing career is over.
When you have a coach who's a part of your team, like Reggie Theus, successful basketball player in his own right, done a lot of things in the media. Have you had a chance to, I guess, talk shop? And they say iron sharpens iron. Is that one of those situations that kind of works out when you got a guy with a global experience, if you will, in the pantheon of sports, but just to be able to chop it up over lunch and stuff like that? What's that experience like?
It's been great. Coach makes it a point to have his daily rounds to every coach just to make sure and check up on everybody's programs. He's out there supporting, other coaches' programs as well. And I think when you have an athletic director that is able to be in the trenches with you because he is also the head men's basketball coach, I think that works well. And the relationship has flourished the last couple of years. He comes out to our games to support. We go out to, basketball, football, volleyball, all the events that we do have across campus. And again, just having an athletic director that understands our point of view as well is huge. The relationship has been great. Again, we're able to talk shop. It could be popping into the office. He has an open door policy, which I appreciate. It doesn't have to be just all good. Even when coaches are going through something, we know that we feel comfortable going into his office and just speaking to him for a couple of minutes or just kind of venting to him, but also his support staff as well with George Bright, our deputy AD, and Scott Summers, another right-hand man for Coach Diaz. I think that group has done phenomenal in establishing a championship culture and being clear on the expectations and the standard of our entire athletic department. And it's flourished not only on the field with track and field championships, with golf having success in the SWAC tournament, tennis on the come up right now, softball year in and year out. It seems that they're a game or two away from a SWAC championship. Men's basketball had a really great year. Women's basketball, we just hired Coach Demetria Frank, which I'm pumped up for as a Bethune alum. And again, there's just a lot of momentum, it feels, with our athletic program continue to push forward. And it's not done without the vision of Coach Diaz, Mr. George Bright, and Scott Summers at the helm.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that up because when you start talking about program success, when you've got trickle down, I guess, athletic might, if you will, it seems like now that everything has gotten back solid, there's a synergy amongst your colleagues and the other sports in that school, which I think is really ironic because a few years back it was kind of treacherous, as an outside observer, huh?
Yeah, and the other thing too is that should be spoken about is the support that we have with President Dr. Mosley. As soon as he came on board, a year ago, a year and a half ago, it just seemed that the entire synergy of not only the athletic department but the university as a whole flipped on the positive side. He's out there as well supporting events. He understands the importance of what athletics means to a university. He also understands and does well with the relationships of the student body as a whole. And it's great to have, again, a president that supports the vision of the athletic department, but also being able to push the university forward. So I think when you add those pieces together, you have momentum that's gaining throughout the entire university and continue to uplifting Bethune-Cookman University.
Everybody that I know who's been associated with Bethune-Cookman has a resilience about them, which kind of speaks to the resilience of the school because there have been some tough challenges. Can you talk about that? The will that Bethune-Cookman shows, because even when I was in school at Morgan in the 80s, they were struggling, but you had Larry Little down there who was fighting a good fight. And to me, it just seems as though in the 30, 40 years that I've been, associated with the MEAC, that yours is the story that stands out to me of resilience of an institution. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think it starts with our founder, right? Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune,
Yeah.
and how she started the school with $1.50 here in Daytona, right? We talk about in life, it's not what you deserve, is what you earn. And Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune definitely earned everything that, she was able to acquire with hard work, with dedication, with knocking down doors. When those opportunities weren't there for her, she made it known that this is what she was going to do. And I think that spirit is embodied throughout the entire university. And I think that everyone who steps foot on campus, who has had an experience at Bethune-Cookman, you're right. There is a sense of resiliency because of the spirit that is Mary McLeod Bethune and what she left, right? It was an investment to the future, right? So if you invest in young people, if you invest in the core values of the institution, then great things will come. But absolutely, a lot of students. I myself was a first generation college graduate in my family, and I think that entire spirit is embodied throughout the entire university. So when you come in contact with that, you have a sense of pride. You have a sense of I'm going to get things done, because if Mary McLeod Bethune back in the day started with $1.50 and was able to do what she needed to do and earn everything that she earned, then we can do that as a whole as well.
So you can speak, and we're talking with Johnny Hernandez, who is the head coach of Bethune-Cookman's baseball program. And the fact that you're an alum gives you a different perspective on being a Hispanic student going through the HBCU experience. Can you talk about how that helped you, and then it helps you when you go out and you bring recruits in to make the transition easier, smoother, so they can play at their, top level?
Yeah, so I played at Florida Memorial down in Miami Gardens, and then I was able to acquire my master's through Bethune-Cookman. But again, it's about providing opportunities, right? I can speak to being a first generation student athlete and having a degree, the first one in the household to have a degree, and the importance and the significance of, the trials and tribulations that my own family had to go through in Cuba, my grandparents, to be able to provide my parents and to provide myself and my brothers and sisters an opportunity to come to the United States to have opportunities. So I can definitely speak on that magnitude. I can speak about what it means having an education. As a parent, and obviously I have a 13-year-old son who's playing baseball and sports. What more wouldn't I want than my son having an opportunity to go play professional baseball or football or basketball? But the reality is that only the top 1% of the 1% have that opportunity to play professional sports and get paid well. So for us, it's about understanding that degree that gets held up on the wall outweighs any professional experience in sports, because the funnel gets smaller as you get older, right?
Right.
But if we're able to provide educational opportunities, at one point, all of my players are going to be fathers, they're going to be husbands, they're going to be grandparents, they're going to be pillars of their community. If we give them the tools to be successful in the game of life, that's where the true win comes in. So again, it's a relationship piece. It's also about, for me, laying my head on the pillow, knowing every night I'm doing right by each and every one of our players, because the families are entrusting us as a coaching staff to take care of their little boy, right? Even though they're 18 to 22, they're still going to
That's
be,
still their baby,
mom's
right?
boy. They're still their baby. So, I have to do right by them, and I live by that. And I'm very true about who I am authentically, because they can see right through you when you're not authentic to yourself. And at the end of the day, we never burn a bridge on the recruiting trail. If a kid decides, hey, Johnny, everything's good, but I'm not coming to Bethune, I'm going to go to another school, I'm not going to burn that bridge because of the transfer portal. And if it doesn't work out for them at the first school, well, hey, I remember how, Coach Hernandez and the coaching staff welcomed me in, and the relationships that we were able to build through the recruiting side of things. It just continues to leave the door open for opportunity to recruit the student athletes that maybe don't choose Bethune-Cookman at first.
At the highest peak, Coach, what do you think is the greatest level of winning that you can get to? Can you compete for a regional? Can you get to a college baseball World Series? Is it realistic to believe that a team from the SWAC and a small town like Daytona Beach, who's known more for motor racing, can you make a run at some point?
You know what, Mark? I'm one that I will never allow the narrative to affect our program that HBCUs cannot compete on the national scale. I will never allow that into our program. And we openly speak about that to our program that, hey, man, the goal is to get to the College World Series and compete for a national title, because that's what we signed up for. There's 305 Division I baseball programs, and we all work towards that goal. I will not allow the negative narrative, to come into our program. So for us, it's about a process, right? We've had success in the conference, but we had to learn how to navigate the SWAC conference baseball tournament before acquiring an opportunity to win a championship. We got to the regional last year. We have an idea of how to navigate a regional because we've been through that experience already. Do we have the talent? In my opinion, I believe we do, to compete in a regional, but everything is step-by-step process.
Right.
You're just not going to wake up one day and say, well, hey, you know what? We're going to go to the World Series today. Absolutely not. You have to learn how to navigate that, not only as a program, but as coaches and as players as well, because it is different when you get to that point of the playoffs. So I want to believe that we have an opportunity to compete for a national title year in and year out, but there is a process that goes along with that in order to get to that goal of punching the ticket to Omaha, Nebraska at the College World Series.
So where would you say that you all as a program are in that process?
I think we're right there. Again, we've been able to compete against some really good programs throughout the entire season. And I think that if we stay true to who we are and we stick to the process and we go with an OO mentality every day, every win we're going to celebrate. But once we wake up, day's over, right back punching that clock. With every loss, we have an opportunity for growth and we have an opportunity to learn. And if we don't learn from our mistakes, we don't want to stay neutral. But again, I do think that we're right there at the cusp. And it just comes down to our guys continuing to believe, continuing to work, and continuing to have that 0-0 mindset day in and day out.
Johnny Hernandez, a Bethune-Cookman grad who is taking the baseball program to the next level. And as a baseball guy, my friend, I look forward to talking to you again real soon because, Bethune-Cookman is really one of the special places in HBCU, the landscape. And it's just great to see you guys recover, number one, and number two, be able to compete at that level that I'm accustomed to seeing you at. So it's a pleasure to talk to you, Coach, and don't be a stranger, all right?
No, you got it, my man. I appreciate you allowing me to speak to you, and as always, hail Wildcats.
Hey, man, the door to the show is open for you anytime, man. Make sure you keep in touch with us, and we'd love to talk to you again down the road as you head for a regional, okay?
All right, you got it. Thank you.
Johnny Hernandez, the head coach of Bethune-Cookman Wildcats baseball, as we continue. It's OG Sports Wrap on the network. Remember, download the mobile app because we all we got. And thank you, Coach.
You got it, my man. Anything you need, you got my number.
Yeah. Hey, look, you don't have any way to get me any highlights, do you?
Yeah, I'll connect you with Bryce Hoynoski. He's our SID. And I'm sure he can send some stuff over to you. I'll text as soon as we get off. I'll put you guys in the group text.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Coach. I got another couple of these to do, and then I got to head over to my campus to see my kids. So
you got it, man. Make sure you tell Lynn that we spoke today.
I sure will. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man. Take care.
You got it, man.